healing,
self-care,
mental health,
Black, joy,
women.
real Black girl shit.
to be whole is to be healed.
Black girl joy.
Healing journey. Black woman be whole.
Welcome back to the Black Woman Behold podcast, y'all. We're your
Hey,
hosts.
hey.
Hey, what's up? What's up? We're your hosts, Marquia, Kim, and Ednesha. And as always, we're Black women working on being whole.
Working hard. I'm sorry.
On the boulevard, as they used to say.
Ooh, not on the boulevard. Everybody on no stroll now, child.
We in pieces trying to put them together to make it whole.
And we are on our third episode of season 3 already. It feels like it's going kind of fast. So
Let's do this.
And I know last episode we had a guest. We do have another guest joining us today. But before we
Look how we didn't change it up on y'all. Look at that.
we had
I'm
to
sorry, I got
diversify the
excited.
programming. She's
We
very
diversify the
excited.
programming.
What if we have guests for every episode? Because we didn't
That's
come
too
up with a
much.
plan
That's
at
too
all for
much.
season 3, y'all.
Yeah,
That's
we're just
one
kind of it's giving YOLO. It is giving very much YOLO. It is very much giving day by day, step by step. So just roll with us, y'all. You've liked it thus far, so hopefully you'll keep rolling with us as we make it work. But before we get into our next guest, I want to check in with everyone. I know everybody's probably tired. Y'all know we tape this before we send it out to y'all. And yesterday we had an event. So how are y'all feeling post-event? How are y'all feeling? I know I'm tired. I got home late as shit. And then I worked until like 3 a.m. and then got up. So I'm tired. How about y'all?
Well, I just want to say thank you to all the women that came out to our brunch because it was lit. And it wasn't lit in a normal way that brunches are lit. What I'm talking about is women connected with other women. Women thought about what self-care looked like for them. Women talked about what their mental health was right now, where they want it to be. I am so inspired right now. And the debrief was like, what's next? Like, we got to get at fire to y'all. Like, everybody was like, what's next after the brunch?
Like, let us breathe.
No,
Right. Can we take a nap?
Let's be clear, ladies. We are already planning. We started planning after we left y'all last night. So we are trying to bring you guys more amazing events. So I am just so grateful, so thankful, and I feel so full after our brunch.
Like full of food or just full of love?
Full of brine, like
But I didn't eat. Okay, when you give an event, I don't know who else out here that's listening gives events. I didn't eat. I barely had a drink until the end. I might have had some water so I wasn't dehydrated, but that was it. I was trying to make sure at this
There was
point
no
we are
care.
trying to make sure Black women feel taken care of. And that was my job for the day. Not to say that taking care of myself was not important, but I did eat beforehand so that I could focus on other women for the day.
Love it.
I will say that.
I'm tired and I need a break. And so that's what I'm gonna take. That's it.
Period.
Done. Love people, gotta love myself. And
All right, girl.
I can't wait to go to the spa, do all the things.
We love
Reset.
that.
Yeah, it's gonna go get in the water, honey.
Oh, yes, fellow water sign, I understand. It's just so calming and
Yes,
refreshing.
It
It
is.
is. All
So,
right.
what y'all working on? What you working on, Kim?
I see. I was gonna mix it up. Not you impeding
Follow
on
the
my
plan.
hosting.
You don't see the thing.
Not you impeding on my hosting, and you gonna leave this in there, Kim. I actually wanted to start with what was the crazy thing, and then work on what we were working on. I wanted to
sorry.
switch it because I feel like since we were already like talking about experiences and feelings, and then ease into what we're working on before we go into our guests.
All right, Kim, we're gonna start with you. What you out here looking at or reading? What's going on with you?
Miss Black
All of that?
China. Miss Black China. Listen, she took out her implants out the booty cheeks and not the face cheeks.
And the
Okay?
boobies too.
And the boobies. And the butt and the chest cheeks. All the cheeks.
All the cheeks.
All the cheeks.
All the cheeks flat now.
Her face looks very interesting. I was like, you have a face To me, she looked like an alien because those implants like made her face look really
Yeah, her
weird.
cheekbones look really big and they were too high.
It was
It was
kind
a
of
lot.
scary. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad, like, maybe is it body dysmorphia? I don't know, but I'm so happy, like, whatever prompted her to do this, Miss Ma'am, you're looking normal.
And she's a beautiful girl.
Yeah. It
I
was
love
too
that for her.
much. It was too much. So I love that. Not that, BBL girls don't come fight us. We love y'all, but if you don't want to, you have the and you can change it, so change it. So she took all the fillers out her cheeks, all of the cheeks.
It's
So
a lot of pressure. And she talked about that. She said she did it because everyone was doing it. That's how she felt.
right.
I think that peer pressure is really serious. And I do think that a lot of young girls are making huge changes to their bodies because of peer pressure. I'm tired of everybody saying like, oh, you don't got a BBL, like as if everyone is supposed to have it. I've heard women talk about the pressure of it. And Glorilla, I think they told her like, oh, you cute, but you too skinny. And she's like, I like the way I look. I'm not about to go get my booty done. I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
I'm happy with who I am.
Imagine that, like you're an artist, and someone's like, "Oh, you'll be better if you modified your body." What?
Straight
How is
up.
how is a BBL gonna enhance my voice? Are you not here for these lyrics? I'm confused. Like, because I'm
And
F and F. Okay, she said she was fuck nigga free and BBL free apparently.
Yes.
So
There's all bodies matter, all booties matter. Listen, if you got pancakes or big cakes, go outside.
somebody's dating you.
Go
Listen,
pancakes
outside.
stop
or
with the
big
BS.
cakes.
Someone loves everything that you have.
Yes.
Okay, ladies.
I support that message.
Okay.
Ednesha, what have you seen? Because you usually be seeing the craziest of the shit.
You know what? I've been trying to stay off of Instagram, FYI, because I realize how much of
That
my
you see
time
the
it
crazy
actually
shit.
takes up.
Because you see the crazy shit and you're like, you know what? Maybe I don't need this in my life. Is that what
You know what? Okay, so I was looking at this video,
what happened?
and your
Mhm.
boy Ron DeSantis is going
Who's
in.
boy? Who's boy?
Okay, he's nobody's boy,
Who's
but
man's? Who's man's?
he is really going ham with all the things that he is trying to do in Florida. It feels like he wants to erase the Black existence.
Yeah.
And
Like,
does.
in our culture, our history, all of it, as if it doesn't matter. And I saw a video of some kids' textbooks and what it used to look like and what it looks like now. And it talks about the Rosa Parks story and how Rosa had to get up because she was a Black woman. She had to give her seat to a white person, and all the racism, talked about all of it. Now it's down to Rosa Parks had to give up her seat and she didn't want to. I said, wait, wait,
You're like,
y'all.
where's the
Wait,
context?
wait, there
here?
was no context. No,
So she was just
seriously.
being indignant and being a rude ass nigga. That's
No,
what they're trying to say.
They didn't say her race. They didn't talk
What?
about racism. They didn't talk about the white race. They didn't talk about why she had to give it up, where she had to sit. They said she was sitting. She was asked to get up, and she didn't want to. End of story. They just erasing history around here.
What are they trying
They're
to?
revisionists. They're
but-
revisionists.
It's a revisionist history, and I think
Yeah.
that is extremely harmful. And also, he's about to run for president.
Well, the MAGA
So-
people are mad. And, imagine being a part of a culture where the foundation is theft. You'd be jealous too, I guess. Right?
Thievery.
Like, I guess. It sounds like it's rooted in jealousy. Like, y'all can't find the salt or the pepper for the food.
Or is it just rooted in you don't want to take accountability for history, for what was done to us, and for what people who look like you did? Nobody said that you did it. But
Well,
people who
that's a
look like
narrative for
you.
them, though. They assume that you are saying that they personally are responsible. And it's like, girl, obviously Tony down the street on, March, whatever, 2023 did it to me. But it doesn't mean that your grandpa didn't do something bad. Like, those things
What's so
happen.
sad? How the education system, and that's why I love our guest who's coming on. Oh, she's gonna hit it right. Bam, bam, boom. The education system has really fucked a lot of people up. And we're raising dummies.
It did
like
our
people
people
who are ignorant.
injustice, and it's
Right.
unfair.
Black History Month is in the education system is only talked about once a year, right? In
Right.
February. Like, and
Right.
they keep talking about Martin Luther King. It's like there's so many other people.
They're
Right.
trying to
You
get rid of
know,
Africana studies. This is
it's
it's out of
it's
hand.
wild. Wild.
All right,
It's
because we
crazy.
could go on forever. So, Marquia, what have you seen? Because don't
Ah.
get us started on racism. So
Oh,
go ahead, girl.
Um, I was gonna tell a personal story, but I ain't gonna do that.
Why
you read
not?
something about yourself? Wait,
No,
what's going
not
on? What?
no. I was gonna say, that time that I was out and my friend got put out the car and the
Ooh,
thing, but
that
that's
is a wild.
I don't know
thing.
if your friend listens. That's
what
on
I'm saying.
you.
That's why I was
I-
like, now see.
Now, if you have some problems in your relationship, don't blame it on the podcast.
Ooh, oh, it's
That's
not
all I'm
me.
saying.
Oh no, I was safe and I was home in my own car.
Okay.
Other people were having issues, but that's another story for another
Issues.
day. Craziest thing that I've seen. You know what actually was really wild that I saw, and this is like very random and not pop culture. When I was driving home from Connecticut the other week, I saw a car literally on fire. And like I did not tell anyone that, but like it was yes, like there was a car accident, but like when I tell you like flame engulfed car, like I was very overwhelmed. I obviously immediately like said a prayer for the person. But I was also just like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah. What's the
fire.
story? Mm-hmm.
Like fire. So that was really like crazy and wild and overwhelming and stressful. And I actually like think about that person like often. Like I hope that
Are
they
you
are
okay?
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like and like please don't like haunt me. Like I don't need you to like come
Right.
visit my house tonight and be like, hey girl, or like what like I don't need that. But
I was in the car that went up in flames. I mean, I was out of the car, but I watched it burn
Are you
down.
talking about? I was getting ready. That made me think about the time we almost died.
oh my
Me, you, and
Oh
God.
no,
Janelle.
but yeah, that's another story.
Oh, there's another
But
one.
no, yeah, I was
How
in
many have you
Connecticut.
had?
Look, I was in Connecticut,
See, Connecticut is a wild place to drive, bro.
and it was only a volunteer fire department in the town that we were in. We were driving, and I saw smoke. I saw fire coming out the back, and when we stopped, it was some electrical issue.
Oh,
It was my
hell.
sister and I, and it was her boyfriend's car. And he watched his Lexus burn down, and he was just in tears. Like, is this really happening?
Man down.
I was younger, but I'm looking at him like, I hope that insurance is good, player. Because man, that is
Ah.
The
not a game.
insurance.
Not the Lexus though. This was the 90s, so that was a big deal.
Mm.
Yeah, shit was
But,
crazy.
okay.
So that was the thing that I definitely saw fairly recently. That's been on
Well,
my
I guess we
mind.
have to save our death by car accident for another time.
Yeah.
Remind us to tell you listeners.
Yes.
wild.
Hop in the comments and let us know that you want to know that story. I'm also intrigued. I don't know that story.
All right. So what y'all working
So
on?
what are we working on this week?
Marquis, where you at? What you working on?
Personally, I'm working on balance. Life is very chaotic and hectic right now.
Mm-hmm.
In full-fledged entrepreneur mode. So trying to balance planning concurrent events on top of balancing my other clients. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Okay.
I haven't cried so much, but like having very interesting stress symptoms lately. So that's not cool. So working on figuring that out.
Girl, go to get you a spa day. Tell them.
Don't have time right now. And I know we talk about self-care and making the time, but right now,
Like, no,
we need the
not
money
at
in
all.
order to afford the spa day. So I'm thinking in like a
Okay.
month, maybe.
You like rant do.
Right. So
You know.
that's my thing. What about you, Kim?
Okay. I'm gonna just tell y'all. I don't know if I didn't mention on the last podcast because it wasn't there. I am in she devil mode and I am on demon time.
Ooh.
And I am fully living into that. And I'm not even kidding y'all. Like, I'm out in these streets. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Well, thank you very
'Cause,
much.
but I'm just owning that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little wild. And I realize like sometimes like if it bottles up, like it's a very scary thing if I bottle it up because then it comes out like bleh. And
Mhm.
so I need to make sure like the release valve, like, okay, don't go too long without this, with this or that, because it's going to be a nightmare for people and yourself. So,
Balance.
balance, but also just like not like, going to these like, I guess, extremes about things, like not at all and then just too much. Like, where's the happy medium where it's just it's bumping along.
Mhm.
So that's that.
Bumping.
Okay, bumping,
I'll leave it at
grinding
that.
along.
All of the things, smothering, just everything. So
Smothering. Okay.
yes.
Okay, choking along. Oh, sorry. All right, let's move on.
No, I keep
Um, what am I working on? I'm working on what happens when you get what you want. Like
What
you
does that
ask for
mean?
something. So
Oh.
I think that when it comes to like our business and professionally, there's some things that I've wanted and things are moving, right? I'm getting speaking engagements, I'm getting all the things that I want. But what happens when you get what you want and you like, shit, can I handle it? I don't know if we talk enough about that as people. You know, we're asking for all of these things, we're hoping and wishing and praying. What happens when we get it and it's like, wow, can I do all of the things that I wanted? Like, did I
That's
have
the
some
balance piece.
unrealistic expectations of, you know, all that I could personally do and where I'm at? So yes, I'm trying to, and yes, it goes back to balance and kind of juggling and learning when to say no. Like, what is the thing that I turn down because I don't have the capacity? So like, I'm grateful that the business is moving along in a really great way. I'm grateful for a lot of things. I get, you know, all the things I've been asking for is happening. However, now I'm just trying to figure out how do I balance it all and what do I say no to?
It's
Okay.
quite the dance, if I'm being honest.
It really is. So with that
It's like
note,
a foxtrot.
a
not-
foxtrot.
Yeah, maybe even a samba, you know, something difficult. You know, it looks pretty on the outside, but when it comes to, you know, that stuff, it makes a lot of sense. But y'all know it's still Women's History Month. As you know, we're out here making history and doing all that stuff. We did want to let you know about our upcoming guest, who is
Yes.
literally
Woo-hoo!
the embodiment of what it means to be women's history, living legend, if you will. So today I would like to introduce our guest, Dr. Brenda M. Greene. Dr. Brenda M. Greene is the founder and executive director of the Center for Black Literature and also the director of the National Black Writers Conference and a professor of English at Medgar Evers College. She has taught at the Board of Education before becoming director of the Right to Read program at Malcolm King College, Harlem Extension. She served on many committees at Medgar Evers College, has served as director of literacy and writing programs for youth and adults. Through the Center for Black Literature, Dr. Greene has pursued her passion for expanding, broadening, and enriching the public's knowledge and aesthetic appreciation of the value of literature produced by Black writers. She is the visionary behind groundbreaking public and academic programs that support Black writers. She also hosts a long-running weekly program, Writers on Writing, heard on New York airwaves at WNYE 91.5 FM. I feel like a radio host.
Yes.
And globally via YouTube. The program that she's having come up this weekend features writers of the African diaspora discussing their lives, their creative process, and their work. Novels, poems, plays, nonfiction, and more. Currently, she is preparing to host the 2023 National Black Writers Conference Biennial Symposium, Diasporic Visions, Celebrating Black Speculative Fiction, happening this weekend at Medgar Evers College. And additionally, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that she is the proud mother of 2 sons, including Talib Kweli Greene, yes, that one, an internationally known hip hop artist, and Jamal K. Greene, professor of constitutional law at Columbia University. She's also the proud grandmother of Amani, Diani, Raya, Ayan, Kyan, and Justice. So we'd like to say thank you to Dr. Greene for joining us. So we're so excited to welcome our guest today, Dr. Brenda M. Greene, who's the executive director at the Center for Black Literature at Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn. So Dr. Greene, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me. This is
You're
very
welcome.
exciting to be on a show with the young women who are the age of my sons.
Well, since you put it out there, should we address who your sons are? Do you want to give them a quick shout out?
Let's
before
get that out of the way, huh?
I'm very proud of my sons and my 6 grandchildren. My
6.
oldest son is, they both are writers. Surprise, surprise. Talib Kweli Greene is an internationally known hip hop artist who loves performance and music. And Jamal Kwame Greene is a professor of constitutional law at Columbia University. They love what they're doing. And I think that speaks to, what we have to do as parents. We have to be in a position to make sure that our children are pursuing their passion. We have to expose them to everything and let them decide. And even if it's not what you want, let them make their decisions.
Awesome.
And I have 6 wonderful grandchildren aging from ages 6. My youngest, Jamal has 3, Talib has 3. No, the youngest is not 6. The youngest is 2.
That's the pandemic.
All right,
Grandma.
Ages 2 to 26.
Grandma is
wow.
slipping over there. Forgot about the 2-year-old.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I feel very blessed.
Awesome. So outside of being a rock star parent and grandparent, we shared some of your impressive accomplishments of your career in the intro. But what can you share about your origin story? So what are the pieces of Brenda, the person, that make up Dr. Greene that we all know and love today?
Okay, you asked me what my favorite song, one of my favorite songs was, and I chose I'm Coming Out because I think it symbolizes what happened to me growing up. I was always very shy. I loved reading. I knew I wanted to be a teacher at a very young age. In fact, at one point, I thought I wanted to be a nun because I started out in Catholic school.
Okay.
And, that kind of changed when I saw the, interesting enough, kind of inherent racism that was in the Catholic school I attended. It was a predominantly white school. There were 3 Black children, and I felt very marginalized and alienated. My parents moved to Queens. I told them I don't want to go to Catholic school anymore. But I was always a person who loved to read. I kept to myself. I was very quiet. I only had a few friends. And I loved, I think, the introspective life. I loved listening to the radio, talk shows. I used to go to the library and take out like 10 books at a time.
Oh my God, that's me.
Yeah, and that's my granddaughter. My granddaughter Ria, my Jamal's oldest daughter. They all read like that, but it reminds me of what I used to do when I was in middle school and junior high school. That's always a difficult age anyway for young people. And they wrote in my high school yearbook, if silence were golden, I'd own Fort Knox. Because I couldn't talk. I never raised my hand, but I was studious.
Okay.
So I got good grades and did well. I ended up going to NYU with a Martin Luther King scholarship. We were the MLK scholars, and we went the year that Martin Luther King was tragically killed in 1968. We were part of a group of Black students that they brought in. The Black students who were there, BASA, demanded that we educate more Black students. So they brought in about 200 of us. And it wasn't just affirmative action. It was, I had already actually been accepted into NYU. But that was a transformative experience in my life. And that's when I really began to become involved in the Black arts culture. Also met many writers. I met people like Sonia Sanchez and Nikki Giovanni. And I joined the Black Student Association. I started to read Black literature for the first time. I took an African American literature course. I was studying to be a teacher. I had an opportunity to create my own class. I called it Black Creation, which was the same name as our magazine at NYU, Black Creation.
Oh, wow.
And I created a course on Black poetry, fiction, and plays. And so it really made me understand the importance of having yourself represented in the books you read, and making sure that when I went into teaching, that my students would know Black literature, but always integrated Black literature to my courses. So when I say I'm coming out, I was very, very shy, but the transformative experience I had at NYU helped me to realize my full potential and helped me to realize that I had power to be much more. And we talk about signs. My mother was Scorpio also. And I think,
I
she
love
kept
it.
me quiet, the Scorpio daughter. So I couldn't really come out and come into my true self until I moved out of the house and was on my own.
Yeah.
And
So-
I had an opportunity to just blossom and to do so many things that I had never thought myself capable of doing.
I'm so interested because you talk about being introduced to like Black stories, right? And your interest. What was it like then introducing those stories to other young people?
People had a tendency to have low expectations for what students
Okay.
could do and what they could read. And I realized that if you connected students with poems and with literature they could relate to, it could have a transformative experience. And so it became really important to me to make sure that when I talked to students about literature and the kinds of texts I surrounded them with, that they were reading texts that they could relate to. They could look at stories and think about what that revealed about their own personal experiences, what that revealed about society, and what message the writer was trying to bring in.
What comes to mind really quickly, it feels like that quiet girl found her voice and is out here helping other people find their voice through literature. So I really love, just thinking through what is that like to help people find their voice. And when did you find your voice? Do you think that, did you really start to really open up when you started to teach?
When I first started teaching in the public schools, I went in very excited. I was going to do all of these things. And then
we all do.
Yeah. And then I came across these structures and the way the systems were set up.
Yeah.
And in my view, they weren't set up to really encourage students to engage the way I just talked about. And most of the students in the middle school I was teaching were reading 3 and 4 years behind. And I said, what is going on here? In fact, I was angry. I said, NYU did not prepare me for what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
In
Those
teaching in this
institutions
junior
don't,
high
right?
school. Yeah. And so I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and learn how to teach elementary school. Maybe I'll catch them earlier.
Okay.
So I put in a request to go teach at an elementary school. This is how I had such a wide range of experience.
Okay.
Principal, after a year, said, I have a school for you. Put me in it, gave me a 4th grade class with most of the students who were what we call differently abled or special ed. All these male students, I think it was one female, they were just off the chain. And that's the class they gave me.
Yeah. And so is this how you started? Was the inspiration for the Center for Black Literature?
So the Center for Black Literature was formed by me in 2002. And it was in response to institutionalizing the National Black Writers Conference, which had been held at Medgar Evers College since 1986. It was a way to ensure that we held a regular conference every year or a symposium. We held writing workshops. We did retreats for writers of color. We did talk shops. We did reading series. We published a journal. We had youth programs. So the Center for Black Literature represents that institution that provides support to Black writers and also helps the general public to become aware of the complexity of the literature produced by Black writers.
That's super awesome. Now, speaking of the symposium, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there one coming up?
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about that, just in case our listeners are available and they want to stop by? I know some of the details, but you obviously have the full details. So do you mind sharing that with us?
So we're very, very excited that we have the symposium that's coming up. It's called Diasporic Visions. The theme is celebrating Black speculative fiction. And it really is a way to bring together people who are writing speculative fiction. Speculative fiction is exploding in many ways. It's exploding in print, it's exploding in film, through comic books, through music. And it's a way to look at what are the themes that are emerging in Black speculative fiction, to celebrate Black speculative fiction authors. It's going to be March 31st through April 1st at Medgar Evers College. We have a virtual component where we'll look at the scholarship produced by Cherie Renee Thomas and Drew Parker Rose, and then the scholarship around Black speculative fiction, what it is. And then we have roundtables on the second day, which look at speculative fiction from various genres. We're looking at the evolution of Black speculative fiction from print to film. And we have Dr. Ronaldo Anderson, who is a scholar
Oh,
in
wow.
Black speculative fiction. Jewel Gomez, she's been writing for years. She's what they would call an OG.
Okay.
Yeah, I know how to use those terms. Rashida Phillips, Leslie Penelope, who I just interviewed. She's done all these novels and novellas that look at women as the center. She's inspired by people like Octavia Butler. We're looking at the impact of,
Yeah, Kim. I was
Yes.
gonna say Kim is
yeah,
a
in
big
fact,
fan.
Cherie and Jewel Parker Rose are getting the Octavia Butler Awards. We have, there's a Black Science Fiction Society that's sponsoring a panel looking at speculative fiction's impact on popular culture.
This seems right up your alley, Kim.
I know.
We are in New York City. You
Listen,
may have
You
the
have-
time to go.
And it's really reasonable. We're asking for donations. You can
Okay.
register online. Go to centerforblackLiterature.org and you can register. We
Mhm.
still have the pre-registration rates. It's going to be really, really exciting. We're also looking at the presence of Africa in Black speculative fiction. We have Tanana Ridu, Wayatu Moore,
love her.
Anita Lopez. We have on popular culture, Tim Fielder, Christine Taylor Butler, Waitasha Yomak, and Jarvis Sheffield, who's the president of the society.
It
And so I
seems
think
really
it's
exciting.
really going to be a way to engage the audience. like to call it a public gathering, not really a
Okay.
symposium,
Yeah.
because we don't want to have a program where people are talking at you.
Right.
These are going to be conversations, and that's why we call them roundtables, where the writers will be interacting with each other. And then we reserve at least 30 minutes so the audience can interact with the speakers on the panel. And then there'll be a marketplace. We're using Sisters Uptown Bookstore. And
Okay.
for our online books, we're using the African American Literature Book Club,
Mm.
which was founded by Troy Johnson. And we'll also have vendors. We'll have a marketplace of vendors. People will be able to sign books. So it's going to be a festive society, but it's focused on the theme
Of
of
speculative.
speculative fiction.
And I think can we delve into that? Because what does speculative fiction mean for Black people? So it's funny, I'm reading N.K. Jemisin right now. I think she received a Hugo Award as well
Yes.
as Octavia Butler. So I am obsessed with Octavia Butler. I was mad about Kindred, that show that FX did. I definitely wanted to ask you about that. But what does Black speculative fiction mean to Black people? Like, how does that help us, like, mentally? How is this as a genre really helping us see different ways of being?
Well, I like the way that David Dury, who helped to coin the term Afrofuturism, looks at it. It's really looking at the past,
Mhm.
looking at the present, and then forecasting the future, looking at the past and what that tells us about where we've been, analyzing, critiquing the present, and then imagining a new world, a new future, and critiquing what is happening now and giving us cautionary tales, as for example, Octavia Butler does in her tales. It's imagining new worlds. And then it covers everything: horror, fantasy, magical realism, spirituality, ancient traditions and rituals. Speculative fiction has actually been around for years, and I don't know if people are aware of really the fact that we've been reading speculative fiction all along. When I interviewed Jewel Parker Rose, she said, I didn't really think about the fact that I was writing speculative fiction. My grandmother used to tell us stories that had ghosts and the magic and rituals. And she put all of that in her stories, which ends up making it speculative fiction. And so I remember when Cherie Renee Thomas did a seminal book. She did 2 volumes of Dark Matter, and she put W.E.B. Du Bois in the book. He wrote a short story called The Comet. You know, we live in societies constructed by race. So although you may want to get away with it, as Du Bois said, it still is, you know, the color line is something we're still dealing with. Color, you know, the color line in the 21st century. And so Mary Baraka does speculative fiction. And we have speculative fiction occurring, you know, the Wakanda, you know, the sci-fi. So it's
I
really
love that because that's
way,
a point of entry for people. They don't realize it. We snuck
right.
it into you to help you understand about world building and how do you create utopias that are filled with Black people, because
And yeah,
we didn't have those, you know.
we didn't. I know that Walter Mosley said that he thinks that's the most natural genre for Black people to be writing in, because you can imagine all these alternative worlds. You can put yourself in and you can critique, you know, what's happening and critique the environment, you know, environmental racism, politics. You're doing all of that. I just reviewed a book that came out a while ago by Lady Hubbard called The Talented Ripkins. And she bases it on the concept of Du Bois's The Talented 10th, you know, the talented 10th group. But she has this family, Black family in the South. They have all these magical powers. And they help in the civil rights movement, and they're kind of at the vanguard of it. And she tells what happens to them. But then well, I'm not going to tell the end of the story, but it's also the fact that we have these stories that are part of our culture, and these have helped us to survive. And people, I mean, I love what Colson Whitehead did, and the Underground Railroad, Ta-Nehisi Coates did, and the Water Dances. So that, you know, you have to read them as more than novels when we see that magical realism. So there are entryways, as you said, for many people. Technology, looking at what technology has done is another way. We're having a Wakanda Day on March 30th for the young people. And so we're bringing in high school students who will be looking at mythology, African mythology, and then creating their own speculative fiction pieces.
So my question is, Dr. Greene, with all of these things that you're doing and juggling, as you know, we're really big into health and wellness for Black women, right? So what do you do to take care of yourself? How do you balance all of these hats that you have? You mentioned that your mom, you mentioned that your grandma or Nana, I'm not sure what they call you. You're doing all of these things in preparation for the symposium, but how do you take care of yourself? How do you unplug and how do you reset in order to make sure that you still have enough to give to all of these people in your life?
Well, I do believe in God, and I believe that we all are here for a reason, that you live the purpose-driven life that we're given. We're on a journey, and we're not given more than we can handle. I do a lot of journaling. That really, really helps me. It slows me down. It forces me to think more deeply about what's going on in my life. And I find that if I don't write for several days, I get all bottled up.
I love the self-reflection, introspection. Yeah.
Right. When you're doing multiple tasks, you have to find ways to slow you down.
Yeah.
I like to drink, you know, at night, every night I drink a calming tea to slow me down. I want to make sure that I don't have blood pressure. I'm very healthy. I'm very blessed, you know, that I am not on any medication other than my vitamins.
All right.
Hey, listen,
love
that's
it.
I feel really blessed that I'm able to do that. So it means that you have to find a balance. And I shared with Marquia that I want to make sure that I don't get the way I see some people do, who throw everything into work. That they end up throwing everything into work, and then when things don't go as they want, when they get angry, they hold it within themselves. They hold it inside, and they walk around with this angry scowl on their face, and they become bitter and angry. And I don't want to do that. So I make sure, you know, you ask me, I love to dance. So sometimes, you know, I love to dance. I love music. I have music playing in my very often when I'm home, you know, listening to jazz and music. I love plants. You know, I believe that plants thrive in positive environments with energy. Plants like listening to music too.
And they're said to help decrease anxiety as well. House plants. Yeah.
Yes, house plants. I've always liked house plants and music. So I want my space to be calm. And not, it's not as orderly as I always want it to be.
Mhm.
But I do know that
Ah.
when I get all wound up, I know to stop.
Well, let me
And
say this. I want to ask this because the three of us on this podcast, the three women, we've talked a lot about not being able to see self-care model for us, not having women in our lives talk about it. Where did you learn that it was in some ways okay to prioritize yourself? And how did you figure out that I do have to take care of me and self-care is important? Because when we talk to a lot of Black women, it's not something that was modeled for them. It's not something that was talked about. And sometimes when they think about self-care, they don't think about themselves. But it doesn't seem like that's an issue for you, that you figured it out. How long ago did you figure it out? How did you figure it out?
well, one of my close friends is a
Uh-huh.
therapist.
Okay. Okay.
And she always said to me that we can be friends, but I can't be your therapist.
Come on.
Mm.
You know, that you can't, you know, she believes very much in therapy. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not
Okay.
in therapy, but I have been in therapy throughout my life at different points
Okay.
when I felt that I needed it, and it has helped. You know, sometimes you can be depressed and you don't know that you're depressed,
Of course.
you know, so you have to again go within. And I think what has helped me, I mean, it's been a long time, but it helped me to understand the importance of having those other mechanisms. My mother I told you my mother was a Scorpio. My mother loved the good life, and
Come on.
she at the end, but
She
at the
took
end
care
of
of
her life,
herself.
yeah, at the end of her life, she ended up suffering with heart disease because she
Mm.
wasn't watching her diet. She used to always say, "Oh, it doesn't matter, you know, I can do whatever I want. Everybody loses weight when they get older. You know, I don't have to worry." She did
Okay.
whatever she wanted, and
Mhm.
she ended up suffering. And I think it taught me and my sisters. I'm the oldest. And it just reminded us of the importance of even you can have fun, but you still have to take time and watch what you eat
Mhm.
and watch what you take in your body. My mother had heart disease. My father had high blood pressure and had a stroke when he was about 60, and it was devastating for him. I always called him the armchair intellectual, and it was really hard for him to stop. But they both loved living a full life. So
Okay.
you have to figure out, how can I do that and still take care of myself? So I think that our parents teach us lessons. You know, we come to them and we have to look at what we can learn from them.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I learned. So that in collaboration with being in a high stress environment, when I say high stress, but being in academia and realizing there are not many Black women who are in leadership positions, and not people I could relate to. I had to figure out a way to find that balance. And I looked at the people around me. I joined professional organizations.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very
Connection.
important.
We
You
love
found your-
connection.
Yeah,
You
that
found your
really
connection
helped a lot.
networking.
Yeah, I still have friends. One of the groups I joined when I was in my I guess now we've been together. So I joined it in my 30s, the Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs and the Minority Political Women. We're still friends. We started 3 years ago, where we go away for about 10 days
Mhm.
and just,
Treating.
hang out. There's like 5 of us, and we go and hang out. I think that's really important. It's important to find people in your profession. I just joined a group called the Wintergreen Sisters.
Okay.
They're about my age, a lot of writers and scholars, and they go away for a weekend just to regroup. I think those are the things you have to find time and do, no matter what kind of relationship you're in.
Okay.
You know, no matter what's going on in your life, you have to find and take the time to do that. And that's what I'm trying to do. But it took a while. You know, when you're very young and you're raising children, you don't think about that.
Mhm.
And you can end up getting really stressed out, you know, working on the doctorate and going to, teaching and being a mother and a wife. All of that was stress. And I had to sit back after I did that.
When I think about generations, right? We're on here and you are talking about something that so many women should be aspiring to do, which is taking care of themselves. Like your routine fits with who you are, right? Like the plants, the writing, like that's who you are. That's how you've created your world that works for you. Like Ednesha likes to walk. and she likes to be outside in nature. I like to go dance and party and like do wild fun things because I'm an extrovert and I need to get it out, so. And Marquia likes to do her things. She always talks about it on the podcast.
I'm like a 50-50. Like I'll work out. I might go out. I might not. Most likely in the house.
Right. But to have a routine that really helps you center yourself, and you talked about relationships. That's a really big part of what we talk about in that work, because we can't do this alone.
No,
Especially where you are and when you're in the fields where you're mostly by yourself. Like, who are you going to bounce ideas
writing
off
is
of?
very lonely.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, when you're writing, yeah. So you have to, think about, like I said, you go out, you have friends. When I went on sabbatical, that's when I ran Incuro Books. And I mean, again, it was very intense. I learned about running your own business, respect for anyone who has their own business, small businesses. Wow.
Stressed out. We stressed out over here.
That was a learning experience, managing a bookstore. When it's time to go back to work, I was exhausted.
Right.
You know what I did? I didn't tell my parents where I was going. A friend of mine told me about a cottage upstate New York. It was about 6 hours from New York City. And it was the Payton Institute retreat. It was a cottage. I was by myself for a month.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Lake Champlain. I can't believe I would not do that now. I would be too afraid. But, to be out there on myself. And I did so much writing.
I can
And
imagine.
then at night I would go driving and, just look at the landscape, but I needed that peace and you could rest. So I just took my music, went shopping and got the food, just used them. But that again, I look at transformative experiences and it's really slowing down and figuring out, because we're all on different journeys. It goes back to the purpose-driven life. The work I'm doing now is another journey that I'm on, and you have ebbs and flows. My son Jamal says, you like projects, because he said you start one thing, you do that, and then you move on to the next one.
You get bored probably easily because you just want a new experience.
I don't know if it's bored. I just feel like a different calling. I see something that needs to be done, because they all end up blending into each other. They're connected in some way.
Yeah, the beauty of what you talked about is the importance of friendships and having people around, but also the importance of spending that alone time. So I always tell the girls, like, I like to hike. Arizona is very beautiful. I went out to Arizona. That alone time that you get to have, by yourself, I think it's a way to really get clarity in your life. And it's been really helpful for me to kind of get the clarity that I need to figure out what's next for me. Where do I move from here? And so I love the fact that you've talked about both of those, because we talk a lot about friendship and that sense of belonging, how important it is. It helps with self-worth and, it reduces stress and anxiety. So having those relationships are important. But I do think as people, we have to figure out, do I like myself? Am I able to be alone as well? And for you to be able to reflect both sides of that to our listeners is really appreciated. So thank you very much.
It's very Scorpio of you, Dr. Greene. I understand. I relate. I'm like, yes, you get the social, you get the alone. We're on the same page. Thank you again, Dr. Greene, for coming and joining us today. As we said, your symposium will be happening this weekend. So can you please give us some details on where folks can find out information? And will they be able to buy tickets even though it's the Tuesday before? Or is it still tickets available?
Yes. Online registration is going on through Friday, and they can do in-person registration on Saturday, April 1st. But they can go to our website at www.centerforblackLiterature.org. They can see the program. They can register through Eventbrite. We're also on Facebook at Center for Black Literature, and Facebook at National Black Writers Conference, Twitter at Center for Black Literature, Instagram at Center for Black Literature. And then we also have, if you go to the YouTube, you'll see the Medgar Evers College, the Center for Black Literature. You'll see some of our previous programs. So we encourage everyone to come out. We'd love to see you. It'll be an historic gathering. And speculative fiction is, as they would say, it's really, really hot. and
Okay.
fun.
Is lit.
Okay.
Yes.
Speculative
it's
fiction is lit. Lit
Ah,
literature. Lit. No, too much.
we can
Okay.
put it on a t-shirt.
I
Put it on
loved
a
it,
t-shirt.
Marquia.
I tried
I'm
to give a
clapping. I'm
pun.
clapping, girl. I'm clapping for you. That was fun.
But also, as always, thank you so much. And we will make sure we check you all next time. So thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.